Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. I'm the Nighthawk, along with our studio engineer, Alan Richie Cunningham, and on the panel, the usual cast of characters. To my left, Super Dave Handy, and to my right, the Duke of Duke, Duke Forrest. So, I think I'll get started today with baseball and the news that we have been expecting.
You're talking about DH? I was hearing that story all day that they hadn't nailed that down. Or you're talking something else?
No, I'm talking something else. Okay. So we'll get into the DH.
Still not nailed down.
The Oakland Athletics officially ended their affiliation with the Vermont Lake Monsters.
Stunning news.
Which we all knew was coming because baseball cut back on 40 some odd teams. Each major league team will only have 4 minor league teams, really? AAA, AA, high single A, in a short season.
So there'll still be a short season single A?
Yeah. Really? Okay. So, and I'll read what I got. The news that Vermont baseball fans have dreaded for months finally came out Wednesday. The Oakland A's have broken off their 10-year relation with the Vermont Lake Monsters, leaving the Burlington-based team without a Major League Baseball affiliate. The short season Class A club joined the New York Penn League since 1994 and is not among the 120 Major League Baseball teams invited to join the restructured minor leagues next season. With that pared down, the A's announced they'll be developing their players with Las Vegas, Midland, Lansing, and Stockton. So, in a statement from the Lake Monsters, while we're not ready to formally announce what this means for the 2021 Lake Monsters, we are heartily encouraged with our ongoing discussions to ensure that professional baseball will continue at Centennial Field for many seasons to come. We'll be updating all of you with our status in the near future. Now, whatever that might mean.
Whatever that means.
I mean, semi-pro. I mean,
there are a few independent, isn't it? I think St. Paul, Minneapolis, there have been a few independent minor league teams, but boy,
I think there's one in New Jersey.
But could they do anything? I mean, maybe they can pull out something like Montreal, the Mountaineers. Is that who? I've never seen one of their games. I don't know. But boy, don't hold your breath on anything of any significance, I would say.
Yeah,
I wish them well.
Heard that the Mets today are very close to signing George Springer.
That is right? A unfalse rumor that came out later. That rumor was out early afternoon, then came out later in the afternoon.
Is that right?
At this point, not close.
And
the closest they are to signing anyone is Trevor Bauer. Yeah. So, Duke on the Lake Monsters, and I've said this before. Technically, it is minor league baseball, but you could put Dave Handy out in left field, and you wouldn't know any different. These guys, these guys really weren't major league caliber ball players.
Yeah, typically maybe one of the players you're on average on the whole team maybe makes it to the bigs.
One would make it, and that's generally for a September call up.
That said, some pretty good ball players did log a little time.
Well, of course, we had AA for a while.
Right. AA is the cat's meow. I mean, when the Cincinnati Reds were the AA affiliate. Trying to remember some. Lloyd McClendon, Chris Sabo, the Yankee, Paul O'Neill.
Wow. How about
a great Reds?
Junior Griffey?
Well, the Mariners took over. Ken Griffey stopped in Burlington for a bit.
Yeah.
So, and as you know, and you certainly go to a few games every year, you saw the attendance decline on nearly half what it was 10 years ago.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure half, but it was kind of slowly declining.
Yeah. Now, some of the teams in the New York Penn League did survive, but not all of them. And teams.
And they'll continue as a short season Class A, so there'll be something left of New York Penn.
Yeah. Boy, I'm trying to find. So some of the affiliation for the Red Sox here. Let me just find that. Lowell is out of the picture.
Is out of the picture.
Yeah. What's their nickname?
Spinners. The Spinners. Just like an hour, maybe an hour from Boston.
Yeah.
Nice minor league park.
Yankees, Palousca in Virginia.
Staten Island.
Staten Island was where the Yanks were.
Trenton for the Yankees is gone. Staten Island, which has a lawsuit against the Yankees, because they built a new ballpark within the last 10 years.
Is that right?
Yeah, I guess it's a pretty nice ballpark.
Fortunately, Burlington wasn't crazy enough to do that.
And for my Nationals, Auburn Doubledays, which is, of course, in the New York Penn League, their history. So, I mean, it's a sign of the times. They have to cut back. I know the Nationals announced yesterday they laid off 18 full-time employees.
Really?
It's just,
of course, this minor league cut was way before the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This thing, hey, it only makes sense. I mean, I think about years ago when you had how many hundreds of minor league teams,
mm-hmm.
and now we're down to just a few.
Mm.
And back then,
oh, you're right, David. Back in the 50s, for example, there were 10 to 12 minor league teams.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And think about it. And back then, they didn't have all the Spanish ball players they've got now. All the guys from the Dominican, and
probably very few.
And so think about all the guys who used to play baseball. Baseball is really, I'll tell you what, there could come a time in a few years, maybe not in the next 4 or 5 or 10, but 15 or 20 years, baseball could be a nothing sport.
It could be pretty shaky.
Yeah. I don't think that's an outrageous statement. I think it's dying a very slow death at this point. And again, I mean, it's talked about all the time. It's the length of the games, 162 games, averaging 3 hours and 14 minutes. A baseball should 2.5 hours is what a baseball
and the
game.
Quality of the product.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to watch, either a home run or a strikeout.
It's a fading big sport.
We love it from its lost art. It's like we're looking at an old movie star who used to be a siren in her 30s and now she's 80. Yeah. And you go, oh, she was beautiful in her day.
Right.
But you know,
Hawk and I are all radio guys. I mean, I love baseball on radio.
Oh, me
I
too.
probably listen to maybe even way more on radio than TV, but it's such a great sport on radio.
Tell you, some of my best childhood memories is going to bed at night with my little Japanese transistor and listening on 960 WEAV, Plattsburgh, the Montreal Expos. And as grateful as I am to have the Nats on TV every night, it was something special listening to their play-by-play guy, Dave Van Horn. But Dave, you know, we played baseball as kids. We played baseball almost every...
All I did for years.
Right, every single day. You know, kids now...
No.
You know, if you don't play, it's like I have zero feelings for the game of soccer. Part of it, large part, is never played the game once in my life. So, but Duke, getting back to what you said earlier, the DH...
So they still...
It's not official, but Manfred did send out a memo last week indicating that the DH will not be in the National League. Now,
will not be.
Interesting. And a lot of people are against not having the DH. Like I saw on one show on YouTube, hitters hit, pitchers pitch. Okay, not a bad argument. But nobody brought up this.
But strategy. There's a little strategy in the National League.
Is the CBA, correct me if I'm wrong, David, does it end after this upcoming season or 2 years?
I think this is it.
Yeah, I think
when you go into negotiations, you need leverage. And the DH is going to be something that the National League, Major League Baseball, and hold against the union will have that as a bargaining chip.
It's, you would think everybody would want the DH, but when I listen to some of the comments from the head of the baseball union, and I'm thinking, my God, here we are, your season only had 60 games. You've got no fans for the foreseeable future. Don't you realize that you guys need to stop whining and really put your best foot forward so that it's like they're Nero while Rome is they're fiddling while Rome is burning.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost didn't get their 60 games in. It was almost seemed likelier than not that they weren't going to even get that together.
Dude, do you remember St. Louis had 7 to 9 double headers? I mean,
right. They had a bunch of early cancellations.
Yeah, and it's not a good time to start whining about money when you're literally making millions and millions of dollars.
Yes. And the other thing that I think they should do is I definitely think they should keep some of these 7-inning doubleheaders.
That's a thought.
Now, I'm not saying that every doubleheader should be 7 innings, because a lot of teams like the Yankees and Red Sox that sell out, they like those day-night doubleheaders.
Now, David.
In fact, that's all they'll do. Red Sox would no more schedule a regular doubleheader.
Right. That was my...
And cost themselves in a regular season $35,000.
When the schedule comes out for the upcoming season during the fall, they never schedule double headers.
I mean, you're big. I mean, does anybody? Certainly
nobody schedules double headers.
So I'm thinking it would be kind of cool if every team maybe once a month has a Sunday doubleheader or a Saturday, with the 7 innings.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay sure is like there are a few teams that certainly.
Yeah,
could
what
do
difference
that.
does it make? Right. They only get 10,000 people.
Right. You're not getting half the stadium anyway.
Yeah, I just don't think there'll be any radical changes until the CBA comes up. And at that point, they really need to take a hard look and be honest with each other and say, like we just said, baseball is dying a slow death. We need to make changes now to invigorate, the Dukes, the Super Days, the Nighthawks aren't going to be around here all that much longer, and we need to be replaced.
Yes.
And it just doesn't happen.
But the season is not, again, DH is not nailed down. The season itself is of course not nailed down, right? Number of games
well, they're still playing.
They're anticipating 162.
They're anticipating 162.
Yeah. And the other thing too that occurred, and let me go back to DH. I've been squawking on the DH since 1972 when it within inception, and the first DH ever to come to the plate, David, was
the first DH.
It was Ron Blueberg, the Jewish baseball player for the Yankees, because I was watching the Red Sox game in '72, and Orlando Cha-Cha Cepeda was batting fourth, and everybody anticipated that Cha-Cha was going to be the first DH to come to the plate ever to be the answer to the trivia question. And the Red Sox came up, it was 3 up, 3 down, and Bloomberg
was
got there.
Interesting.
But perhaps I was grateful just to get 60 games in late this summer. The DH didn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to come here on the airwaves. Eventually it will happen. And I think
so.
I just think it injects a little strategy. We've talked about a million times for some American League teams. Why even have a manager? Why even pay somebody a couple $1 a year? National League, you need to do a little bit of thinking because of the pitcher and double shifts and 2 real pinch hitters. So I have no problem with the
one
National
point
League.
they did make about pitchers, and that's true. You don't see pitchers sacrificing that much anymore.
They don't even know how to hit.
Yeah. To the young people out there watching the show, the baseball the way you're watching in 2020 is no way it was, say 1970, 50 years ago.
I'll tell you what, it's not the same way it was 15 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Really? With the shifts and stuff?
The shifts, the relief pitching.
Lack of stolen bases.
Look at Madison Bumgarner. The guy, they use him for a pinch hitter.
Yeah.
Right.
That guy was a hitter.
Yeah. Bumgarner can hit. Max Scherzer is a good hitter. So I don't know. It's just sad. There's certain times of the year I get excited. I look forward to the winter baseball meetings. Every year I get excited. I mean, there's nothing of note to even mention tonight. If Lance Lynn is your biggest story of the winter.
What happened to Lance Lynn?
Lance Lynn got traded to the Chicago White Sox from the Texas Rangers for Dane Dunning, name you don't know.
Big news.
Dane Dunning was a first-round pick of the Nationals, but he was sent over to the Chi Sox in the Lucas Giolito trade.
Okay.
So Dunning was included in that trade. The Nats got back Adam Eaton. And of course, Adam Eaton signed yesterday with the Chicago White Sox, the team he previously played for. Shocking to me that he 1 year, $7 million. If you would ask me last week, I'd say tops $4 million. The Braves a couple weeks ago signed Charlie Morton, 1 year, 15. That's about $5 million more than I thought. And they also signed Drew Smiley, like 1 year, $9 million. But somebody said something, again, on YouTube, some show I'm watching, and it made sense. And I've heard this expression before. There is no such thing as a bad 1 year contract.
Well,
and let me just, and I'll let you.
You're right about that.
To prove that point, Chris Davis of the Baltimore Orioles, that's been averaging, and I may be generous here, 200 for the last 4 years.
Strikeouts.
Strikeouts galore. I think he hit around 120 last year. He has $46 million remaining for the next 2 years, 23 per. And
he said today he's coming back because he had injuries.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Orioles were keeping their fingers crossed and saying, God, we hope he stays away.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, other trades I didn't even write them down, like old friend Julio Iglesias, who's a terrific defender. He got traded to the California Angels.
Okay.
But,
not much going on, though. Huh?
But just nothing.
Well, Lance Lynn, the New York papers had a lot of stuff. There was at least 3 articles on him because he was with the Yankees
briefly
a couple years ago. And they were all saying his contract isn't too bad. It's about 10, 15 million. That he would have been a good innings eater.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in a top, I think he was in a top 10 or 12 for Cy Young voting last year. Had an ERA under 3. Had the most, for the last 3 years or 5 years, he's had the most starts, most innings, average innings per start, a lot of really good statistics.
Mm-hmm.
And they really thought the Yankees should try hard to get him back.
Yeah, he's a very good number 3 guy. The Chi Sox starting staff, try to remember, will be number 1, the aforementioned Lucas Giolito. Dallas Keuchel, who pitched really well for him last year. You have Lance Lynn, number 3, and former Red Sox number 1 farmhand who was traded to the White Sox in the Chris Sale trade. He's been injury riddled, but his stuff is as good as any kid
So
out there.
What's his?
Is Michael Kopech?
Kopech, yeah.
Yeah, will be the number 4. And they had some Chase. Oh boy, I can't remember his
I'm
last.
saying Kopech hasn't pitched in 2 years.
Right.
Really?
He hasn't pitched. He came pitched a little bit and he threw his arm out.
This is from the Sunday Globe.
Please give me some baseball news.
Non-tendered free agents worth a good look. I know these guys so well. You ready? Eddie Rosario.
He's great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they have good words for him.
Shocking, $10 million worth at least 15. And the Twinkies didn't want to. Oh, I pray to God every night that the Nats sign Rosario.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He's got an Alex Cora connection in that he played for Puerto Rico in the 2017 World Baseball Classic. Cora was general manager. Another name, David Dahl, DAHL.
Very good player from the Rockies.
Yeah.
I heard on the, sorry to interrupt,
okay.
Richard, while we're talking Red Sox, I heard on the radio that with Cora being with the Red Sox, they might be looking at Springer.
I'm sure. Yeah, it sounded like there was some.
They think that Springer might be a good fit for the Red
It'd
Sox.
probably be a good fit. I'm just not sure. What's Springer? What are we talking for bucks?
Oh, 25 minimum, 25 million
Plus
a year.
He's a New England boy, Connecticut.
UConn guy, yeah.
And again, we know the Sox have $35 million to play with. Put all their eggs in one basket.
No, you'd think they'd like. I haven't heard too much talk about that, but yeah, it sounds like he'd be a great Red Sox.
I would love to sit here and just tell you all the rumors out there. Like a guy like Jackie Bradley, the only rumor on him was the Houston Astros.
Really, not much. Huh?
And what I saw for him, his going rate would be 3 years, $24 million.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not worth that.
That's
But
$8 million a year.
But he might
But-
make
He's all field, no hit.
Right, but if Alex or if Adam
Hitting
Eaton is
came up
worth
a little.
7, Bradley's worth.
Well, wasn't he good for a
Well,
couple years?
he's not a bad player. He missed almost half of his 2 years with injuries.
When they first got him, though, wasn't he like a premier
He was.
center fielder?
Yeah, and
A real center fielder.
He was injured within the first month of the first season, missed the season with an ACL, moved to right field. But he's, I think, 32 years old now. The Nats need power, and that's what they're looking for. But the Red Sox did kick the tires on Springer, like I'm sure everybody else has.
The two other names in this story, Jose Urena and Ryan Stanek.
Stanek, I'm not. Urena is a pitcher, I
Turned
think.
29. He's a right-hander, averaging almost 96 miles per hour in his fastball.
Yeah.
The last 2 seasons, very poor stats. Anyway, but
David,
I guess he had a Tampa Bay connection, so Chaim Bloom comes to mind.
Here's what I think is going to happen. There is a glut of free agents out there. I think owners are going to sit back
And wait.
and let these players start begging for a job.
just like last year, the last 2 years.
Even
right?
more so.
Yeah.
Now, the Phillies, as I mentioned last week, lost $145 million last year. I don't care if you're a billionaire. $145 million is $145 million.
Well, the owner did come out and say that he didn't want to get rid of who's their big stud pitcher.
Well, they signed Zach Wheeler last year for like 5-6 years at $18 million. Word has it that they did talk about trading Wheeler. If somebody would give something up for Wheeler.
Well, the owner said he wouldn't trade Wheeler for Babe Ruth.
Right. That's what he said. But after that, and right now, I can look you straight in the eye and tell you, if they had an opportunity to get rid of Bryce Harper, they would. Because Harper's a very good player, but there's not much on the Phillies. And just the fact that they're not after to re-sign JT Realmuto, the best catcher in baseball. The Phils gave up a lot to the Marlins to get him. Jorge Amorforo, I can't remember all these Latin names, catcher. And there's a very good pitcher the Phils gave up just for a 2-year rental on Realmuto, and they did not make the playoffs in any of those 2 seasons.
Well, I think the Phillies thought they were closer to being a good team
absolutely.
than what they were.
Now, the Atlanta Braves, aside from the Dodgers, the Braves are just, for the next 6 years, I concede they're going to win that division. The Mets are going to spend money. We know that. Steve Cohen is worth $8 billion. He overspent, didn't care. He paid $2.4 billion for the Mets. And think
about it, you don't even own the stadium.
Does the city own Citi Field?
New York City owns
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like the Yankees don't own Yankee Stadium.
Okay, I did not know that either. Okay.
So you're paying a lot of money.
Yeah, I've been to Yankee Stadium and I've been to Citi Field. The time I went to Yankee Stadium was, maybe 8 years ago. I was going to a Giant game in September, and just to kill a Saturday night, we went to Yankee Stadium, and for a second tier seat, again, this is 8 years ago, I paid $120 for a second tier.
Did you really?
Yeah.
One ticket.
Yeah, and Citi Field I've been to, probably the best looking ballpark from the outside because they replicated Ebbets Field.
Oh, really?
It looks
Supposedly, Citi Field's a lot better ballpark than the new Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I liked it better than.
That's what a lot of experts have.
I've never been to any of the Yankee Stadiums.
The new Yankee Stadium has had a lot of mixed reviews.
Yeah. And Duke, I thought of you. I was looking at the Nats schedule. We're playing the Red Sox this year.
Really?
A number of years ago, we went down for a couple games, see the Nats and the Red Sox.
Last time I was in Fenway.
Do you know, and I think the game is in Fenway. So do you know when the Red Sox and the Nats are playing? The last series of the year.
Is that right?
Like, do you really think that'll be a meaning? No.
I don't think the Red Sox are going to have any meaningful games anyway. So
I don't think it's. I think it's not a good team.
No.
Unless pitching comes out of nowhere.
We got to talk about those Giants.
We will talk about those Giants. But I do want to talk one more thing before I put baseball to bed. Leonard sent myself and Duke an email.
He sent me something, but there was nothing I could punch up.
Right.
All I saw was,
And
wow.
I typed back to Leonard,
I saw
like,
nothing.
I received nothing on your email.
I got nothing.
And he said, oops, sorry. And it was about a 1-2-year-old story about the the Expos in Tampa Bay Rays.
I heard a reference today to the great idea about the split season.
Yeah, that was a dumb idea.
In
Well,
2028?
Tampa Bay's principal owner, Stuart Sternberg, says the plan to split seasons between Florida and Montreal starting in 28 is quote unquote the only option.
Once 2028,
right,
correct?
28.
Well, they've got their lease must have
Right,
run out
once
then.
the lease expires in 27. We're getting towards 28, and you can't snap your fingers and just have the stadium show up, Sternberg.
You're right about that.
It's getting trickier and trickier by the year to get something done. This year certainly set things back, but fortunately, we've got a strong group of people who work for us. And we've got a very motivated group of people in Montreal who wants us. And I think we have a plan that makes incredible sense.
Yeah, very
At least it does to
motivated.
me, and we're going to try to see it through. The lease on Tropicana Field expires after the 27 season, and Sternberg said the team has not been approached by any local groups about building a stadium and or buying the team. His primary focus remains on splitting campaigns with the new open-air stadiums in Montreal in either St. Pete or Tampa, calling it the only option in my mind. Sternberg says there has been tremendous progress the last few months in the efforts to bring Major League Baseball back to Montreal with stadium plans and dealings with a group in Canada led by their prospective partner, Stephen Brofman.
It's funny. I haven't heard a thing about this for months.
And Stephen Brofman is the son of former Expo
Charles,
who owns Seagram's,
Yep.
Charles Brofman. The project would see Major League Baseball played in Montreal for the first time since 2004 when the Expos relocated to Washington as the Nats. I've been not just encouraged, but really beyond pleased on how things are progressing up there, he said. And that's a good thing because as Sternberg says, it remains the only club option for now. I'll figure it out what the next step is at that point, he replied to being asked about what happens if that proposal falls through. And he says, there is no plan B right now.
Well, a bunch of total BS as far as I'm concerned. Progress Hawk, I listen to Montreal media every day. Have I heard one thing about the Expos in recent months? No.
That's first I heard. Now,
baseball, give me a break.
And he was interviewed by the Tampa Bay Times. Now, without even looking for it, I found this dated December 8th yesterday. Developer unveils renderings of new Montreal baseball site. Okay, so this is, and you know Montreal better than me. This is right on the water, Peel Basin.
I think that's down Verdun. I think it's Verdun. I think it's
okay.
You go over Champlain Bridge. It's down to your left, I think.
Okay,
but that's not worth much.
Yeah, so it's right on the water.
I've not been to Montreal anytime recently.
And we talked about this a year or two ago. Okay, I'm a free agent, and the X-Rays, have to give them a name, Expos Rays, the X-Rays.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
Thank you. Offer you a contract. You've got a wife and 3 kids. The first 3 months, April, May, June, will be in Tampa. That's the way they're proposing it. July, August, September in Montreal. How does a family buy 2 homes? Know what I'm saying?
Hey, how about
one in Tampa, one in Montreal? Makes no sense.
How about paying your players? You got to pay them in American money. You're taking in Canadian money.
Be serious. Split season, that's the craziest thing.
No.
It's absurd.
What do you do when you get into playoffs? You have one playoff game in Montreal and one in St. Pete?
Right.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I hope there's something to this Montreal. Like I said, I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it.
Now, having Tampa Bay move lock, stock, and barrel to Montreal
that would
makes a lot of sense.
No, as we've talked about, yeah. I mean, look who they're playing. It makes unbelievable.
Then you got the American League East. You got Toronto.
You got Red Sox.
You got
Toronto,
Red Sox. You got
Yankees.
Yankees. You're going to have fans.
As I told you before,
that's the thing that makes a ton of sense.
Out of this 81-game schedule, I can guarantee you 27 sellouts, 9 with the Yankees, 9 with the Red Sox. And of course, half the stadium will be Yankee fans, half will be Red Sox fans.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, our rival
Toronto Blue Jays.
in Canada, the much hated city of Toronto.
No, it makes tons of sense.
Yeah,
but good luck.
that's a no-brainer.
But I'll believe this new stadium when I see it. You can be sure nothing's going on. Montreal's is just dead right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Montreal is worse than dead.
Jeez.
So
they're locked up.
Francois Legault's talking, don't even, hey, Christmas folks, don't even go out of your house. I mean, they are really hurting.
And I enjoy I like to travel and blah, blah, blah. However, I am getting older. So I'm doing math last night. In the year 2028, when the Expos or X-rays are back up there, I'll be 70 years old at that point.
God, and I'm knocking on the door.
I don't know many 70-year-olds.
Want to get in a car and drive up to Montreal.
But those days of just like, hey, Dave, let's go up to Montreal. Then you stop and drink some Bread Ours and all that. You know what I mean? At 70.
God,
I
wish you could drink Bread Ours.
I probably go to Montreal, or I was until the
you go up for your Lebanese food and stuff.
I was going up a lot and picking up bread, and we're going to restaurants and go into Montreal, and with supposedly the interstate is going to be hook right up in
supposedly
in Phillipsburg. They're going to hook right up to Phillipsburg. So that's only going to be about a 45-minute drive.
And of course, funny we're talking Montreal. I mean, I'd like to think I'll live long enough, dubious, when the train could take me up there. And I ran into Charlie Moore. I was buying Sunday papers and ran into Charlie, and we talked about that. He said, well, the pandemic's not helping, but he said, yeah, I think at some point it'll happen.
To think about it, because right now, on a good day, I can make it back from the Bell Center to my house in about an hour and 5 minutes.
All right. For me, I'd say more like hour 15, hour 20, but that's not bad.
Because if you get everything just right.
Yeah.
Well, when they get rid of that last stretch of 133 and you're on interstate right at Phillipsburg, that's not, because it's not that far away.
In your case, easy hour, probably a little less.
And easy driving. Yeah. And with the new Champlain Bridge, and supposedly they're building all new access and egress and all that stuff into the city. They're getting rid of all of that concrete spaghetti that was all the way, when you go up to the airport and stuff. And because part of the Champlain Bridge, it wasn't just that they put in that new bridge, but there are all the other bunch of awful roads that hooked up to it.
Yep. David, how close are they to completing the bridge?
I have no idea.
I'm sorry, the bridge is
all done.
You mean the last section of the interstate? Bridge was completed maybe a year ago.
Okay.
Bridge is completed.
Yeah, I've been on a new bridge. It's huge.
The bridge is completed. The big project now is dismantling the old Champlain Bridge.
Now, you know what else you could do?
Billion.
The other thing you might be able to do, and one of the things they were doing, is at the 10:30, where's the shopping mall and where the Montreal Expos have their practice rink, they're building a metro station.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you only have to drive to the 10:30, which is only about a 45-minute ride, and then you get on the metro. And that takes you right in.
When you say the 10:30, you're talking Brossard or Longueuil?
Yes, that Brossard, that big, huge mall.
Okay.
And the reason it's a 10:30 is because 10's going one way and 30's on the other side of it.
In fact, I've never done it. I've got friends who live in Franklin. A nice lady, I saw her in Barnes and Noble the other day. Spends a lot of time in Ontario, not these days. But anyway, she and her guy had mentioned to me, saying, boy, Montreal, just the traffic blows my mind. And what they do, I guess, is go up to Saint Jean. I guess there's very frequent, bus service into the city, which didn't sound like a crazy thing to do.
Duke.
Never done it.
Traffic. Boston's a nasty city to drive in. Could you please compare Boston versus Montreal traffic-wise?
Well, yeah, Boston's tough. I mean, I think, and Again,
boy,
just
that's
very
a-
aggressive drivers. I don't mind driving in Montreal, but the congestion, that just seems like the biggest issue. It's not crazy drivers so much. It's just way too many cars and slow moving traffic. And again, I'm happy, when I go down to see my sister once in a while or go to the vineyard, I typically won't eat, well, depends what time, Mark,
Yeah.
going through Boston. But I just think of Boston as nasty, just wicked aggressive drivers. Again, but I'm there so little. Montreal, I just think of just traffic congestion and slow moving traffic.
I think when they get all these roads done, and of
Yeah.
course, it may be 50 years, you never know. But Montreal's easier to get around in.
Yeah, I don't
'Cause
mind
it's a
driving around
square.
Montreal. Yeah,
Boston,
yeah,
you don't know where in the hell you're going. You're on you think you're going north or going south.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah, no, I don't mind driving in Montreal. It's just a lot of, congestion.
but since they put the big dig in, I've enjoyed going to Boston a lot more.
Yeah,
I at least I got a clue about where I am.
David, the Canadians practice facility in Brossard, they built that within the last 10 years. How, as a crow flies, what's the distance between their practice facility to the Bell Center?
Oh, 5 miles.
It's just 5 miles?
yeah. And Brossard is just right across the river.
Yeah, you go over the Champlain Bridge, and then you're there.
Yeah.
And yeah, what they did is in the middle lane is the new metro.
Okay.
So that's and if you haven't been to Brossard in the last 10 years,
I haven't stopped there.
the build up there where
Yeah.
this 1030 is.
And
20
so when
years
you say
ago.
10, what's the 1030?
1030 is what the mall. That's what I call the mall.
Okay.
Okay, that's where we get the Lebanese food. There's a restaurant there called Adonis.
Yeah.
But it's 1030 is basically the intersection of Interstate 10 and Interstate
Okay.
30. 20 years ago, it was a hayfield.
Well, really.
20 years ago, it was a hayfield.
Yeah.
It could have been just like the fields in Fairfield.
Huh.
Today, high rises,
Yeah.
and they're building. I bet you, in the last year since we were there, Brossard is just exploding.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff, condos, fancy houses. A lot of the Canadian players live in fancy houses that are just down the street from the practice facility.
Huh. Yeah.
And-
Tremendous growth.
It's but it's just massive,
Yeah.
massive.
Let me ask you a question I don't know the answer to. Speaking of the practice facility, if the Canadians have a morning skate, do they do it at the Bell Center or Brossard?
That I have no idea. I would think it'd be at the Brossard.
Yeah.
I would think you would practice at your practice rink.
You're going to get into some hockey news, I assume, Hawk.
Oh, I'm not segueing because Super Dave wants to talk
Oh,
football.
I'm
But-
so
I'm just saying, there's noteworthy hockey news out there.
There is some hockey news.
It's
I
all
do have
bad.
some hockey news. Now, David, let me ask you
The Bruins
quick
bad
hockey
and
question.
good.
I never
Good
could
bad.
understand this. You're playing 82 game schedule. Okay. These guys are not good shape, great shape. What's up with a morning skate? Why do you need a morning skate? I think 15 to 20 minutes before the game is quite enough.
I don't know. And maybe they kind of do. The only thing I can think of is they do walkthroughs, kind of like what football players do on Saturdays. Maybe they walk.
Yeah.
Typically what you see is they go to a morning skate, they go home, take a 2-hour nap, then they head to the big arena.
Those guys are in such
Yeah.
superior shape.
So listen, I am going to segue myself into hockey since then we can do football. So
For
hockey,
Bruins fans, I'd say good news and bad news. No Canadians, but also no Tampa Bay. But no Canadians? How
So-
weird is that?
they're still planning on going January 13th. They're looking at a 56 game schedule. So if you're scratching your head saying, 56, how'd they come up with that? I'm reading between the lines. You're going to have an all-Canadian division, Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. Okay, so 7 teams, you're playing each other, the 6 other teams. 6 into 56 goes 9 times. So that way
No, a
it'll
little
be
over 9, doesn't go in evenly for the record.
okay. Hang on here.
Well, 56 is 8 times
Is it
9.
9 6
Or
is
7,
50?
no.
54.
9 6 is 54.
54.
Right.
I hope I haven't lost my math
Okay.
yet.
56
Okay.
is-
So what they've come out with today, and it's not set in stone, is for this upcoming season, playing before 0 fans, and they don't have the names of the divisions yet, but I'll call it what I want. East Division will be Boston, Buffalo, Jersey, Islanders, Rangers, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Washington. The Central will be Carolina, Chicago, Columbus, Detroit, Florida, Minnesota, Nashville, Tampa. West, Anaheim, Arizona, Colorado, Dallas, LA, Vegas, San Jose, and St. Louis. And again, January 13th. Now, what they don't tell you is there are at least 10 teams out there had their druthers would prefer
hockey.
not to play because they're going to be losing money this year, period.
Just
And as we
money-wise.
discussed last week, fannies in the seats means everything NHL because they
Right,
have
we know how lucrative those
No
TV
sport
contracts
needs
are.
fans. No sport derives more of a higher percentage of their income
Right.
from hockey
Sure.
from
Right.
seats
Oh, sure.
than hockey.
What are they getting from TV?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Maybe
Peanuts.
north of the border.
Yeah,
Peanuts.
Somebody in New Mexico probably doesn't care that much about hockey. So,
So again, this sounds like a solid proposal, but not totally nailed down.
I think I'll have it nailed down here.
Well,
with-
the big fight is the players and the owners signed a deal, 6-year deal this summer.
right.
And in that deal, the players said that they would give back up to 20% of their salary if there weren't any fans. The owners have looked at it and they want more.
Is that right? Players said 20%.
The players would give back if there was no attendance.
And keep in mind, that's after it's been prorated.
Right. And so now the owners want even more. And the players are going, hey, we've given you everything. What more do you want?
I mean, baseball players made no
Oh,
such
God, no.
such offer, right?
No.
No.
But like David said, though.
But again, it's a different ballgame.
Right. I mean, the owners of the Red Sox own the Red Sox, but they also own
Nesson, too.
Nesson. Okay. Which's more valuable, the Red Sox or Nesson? Nesson's more valuable
Yeah.
than the
Of course,
team.
a lot of the guys that own hockey teams are rich guys, too.
Oh, yeah.
They're
So the players offered 20 and the owners are saying, no, we got to do better than
They
that.
want more than that.
Have they thrown out a figure?
Well, it's supposedly under normal circumstances, the NHL is a 50-50 split league.
Mm-hmm.
50% of the revenues go to the players, 50% go to the owners.
Hmm.
So I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe the owners are thinking, well, that 50% still doesn't cover the salaries. I don't know. It's really sad. It's really awful.
Yeah. So the 13th is what? A month and 4 days away. So,
Not far away. So that's the tentative, or
yeah,
that sounds fairly solid.
it does.
They figure they need 3 weeks to get ready.
Yeah.
Of course, basketball, which you may get into later, is just starting very soon.
Yep. Celts,
About
December 20th,
2 weeks,
2 weeks
right?
from tonight.
Yeah.
Absolutely, against Milwaukee. Me thinks we have a phone call. Let's do it. Good evening. You are on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello. Hello.
Alec, we can't hear anybody.
As Sergeant
Alan. If you
Schultz
can-
from
you can
Hogan
hear us, we
Heroes
can't
would
hear
say,
you.
I hear nothing. Okay.
I'm sure he'll call back.
Okay. Okay. They think
Yeah.
they hung up. So, well, let me talk basketball right now, David, because I know we have a lot to talk about. Football, Celtics, NBA is in training camp right now,
Yeah,
and they'll have maybe 3 exhibition.
and everybody's at their home area, right?
They will be playing in their home arena with nobody there. So,
Well, I think these young guys, if I could, if they all behave themselves, which is a big if,
okay, let's grab a call.
they can stay all right.
Hello, you're on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello? Is our monitor not working?
No, it's dropping the call again. I might have an issue. If he calls back, I'll take care of it.
Okay. Go ahead,
Sorry,
David.
caller. Sorry.
So, because somebody was saying, well, you take these guys like a football team, like a college team. Those guys, they don't need to worry about stuff because they're all living in the same dorm. They can really, they don't see a lot of other people. If you take everybody and you test them every once a week or twice a week, you can keep a pretty good handle on it. It's when these guys are out freewheeling. And right now they got a leash on them.
Right. Now, Baltimore Ravens have had some COVID issues, and apparently some of the players have kind of stepped out of line socially.
Yeah,
I don't know specifically what occurred, but
because you don't need to bubbleize everything. And but I don't know. And especially younger guys. See, I think the problem is, if I were on one of these teams, I'd have all these guys have a big party and I'll get it. And then they're all done with it. Then you can coach them. You don't have to worry about it because it seems like they're all better.
Yeah.
Look at Jackson played the
Lamar
Jackson had it. He didn't look too bad the other night.
Yeah.
And
But meanwhile, college football is again.
Let's
Michigan,
give this a third shot. Hello, you're on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello.
Still no go. Sorry, caller. If you can hear us, we cannot hear you.
Okay. No, Richie's kind
Sounds
of
like we
giving
got
me
some problems. Sorry about that. Thanks for thinking of us, caller.
Yeah.
so anyway, I mean, it's a little facetious, and I know because really the guys you got to protect are the older folks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for thinking of me.
Well, hey, I'm in that club too.
Yeah. I miss it greatly just because I'm sitting around every day, night with nothing to do.
I would have thought I'd have had tickets to UVM basketball this year. I probably would have got some.
Yep.
Or I would have loved to, maybe if the Canadians had a good team, maybe go up, watch a couple of games or something.
I can guarantee you, and I'm waiting for hockey season, but I may be looking into the camera and giving a Nighthawk guarantee, but I have to think about it, that the Canadians will end the season with a better record than the Bruins.
Oh,
And that's a big jump.
That is a big jump.
That is a big. However, with this Canadian division we're playing in, I know we're going to have a tougher schedule than the Bruins. It's not going to be an equal schedule.
Yeah.
So just say the Bruins end up with 102 points. Well, we could end up with 92 points. Well, actually not that with a 6-game schedule.
There aren't that many good Canadian teams. They all stink.
You
All
think?
right, so you think you have a tougher schedule?
Well, let me read.
When was the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley
All
Cup?
right. Okay. Ottawa is a
Montreal, about
bottom feeder.
1993.
Toronto is a
Pretty good team.
Winnipeg had a really good game. Edmonton's a decent team.
Calgary's okay.
Calgary had a good year. Plus, they have a new goaltender they got from Vancouver, Markstrom. And Vancouver had a really nice year last year. I don't expect them to be as good this year. But aside from Ottawa, this is solid. And I don't know. I guess I probably should keep my mouth shut since we're not playing on an even playing field.
Sometimes it's better to be playing good teams all the time.
And did Richie? No, we do have a call. Okay, he is guaranteeing me that this call will get through. Caller, you have a lot of pressure on you. This is your fourth try. Go ahead.
But there's no pressure you put on yourself.
Hey, we made it.
All right, Leonard, again, don't be jittery here. I know you're on the #1 sports show in Franklin County. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, for the Giant fans, I don't know if that's one of the sweetest wins we've had in years. Last Sunday, I mean, that was just so fun to watch. It's been a long time since we've had that sweet a win.
Oh.
I don't care if we don't win another one. I mean, that was sweet.
Don't say that. Don't
Leonard,
say that.
I said to my wife, this was the best Giant game since they last won the Super Bowl.
Really?
And
Wow.
the way they're playing,
Yeah, watch out.
they're playing old-fashioned Giants football, smash mouth D, run the ball, stop the run. That's all you got to do.
Pressure the
Beautiful.
quarterback. I think you mentioned last
Yeah,
week.
no, I mean, you got to be impressed with the no-name linebackers. I mean, those guys are fast. They go edge to edge. I mean, the defensive line with a four-man rush was
Hey,
all
look
over
at-
the quarterback. I mean, even the defensive backs are playing well. So it's quite a thing.
They've got a great, and I don't use the word great very often. They have a great head coach, and their defensive coach, I got a feeling is going to be gone after this year because he is really a good coach. And they lose guys, they get guys coming, they got them going.
Well, you got to consider too, and we're playing with kids, some low round draft picks,
Undrafted
and
guys.
they're running around like their hair is on fire. And you got to realize, O'Shea Jimenez and Lorenzo Carter are two starting outside backers, are both out for the year. We're playing with the guys like Ty Crowder, that I believe is Mr. Irrelevant, the last guy picked in the draft.
And that guy from Dartmouth who
The
keeps
guy from
making
Dartmouth,
big plays
Nicolo or
only to
Figolo or
be
whatever.
thrown back on the practice
Leos.
squad.
Nico Leos,
Mr. Leos.
the guy from Dartmouth, for God's sake.
Yeah. I mean, we got guys,
Nico Lelos. Yeah,
Lelos.
Nico Lelos.
yeah, Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin. I mean, just,
I think Jimenez did get a few snaps Sunday.
oh, okay.
But you know what? Felt
The
so
X-Man.
good.
I think the X-Man got a few snaps.
Okay, you have to
On
double
Sunday.
check on that.
I'll tell you what felt
Yeah.
so good. It's been a long time since they played football that way. They
Yeah,
They-
but it's been coming. You could see it. Every
Yes,
week
sirree.
improvement.
and you know what? Gettleman sure looks like he's a lot smarter now, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah.
I
Winning will cure most anything.
Why was the Bengals going? Hey, I didn't see it. I'm going back a game. Why was the Bengals? That sounded like a pretty shaky game. Did they not play a great game against the
Correct.
Bengals? Or
You're right. That was the game that was not on television, so
Right.
I
Yeah, I
can't.
didn't see it.
Leonard,
I did watch it. I went to a friend's house.
yeah, Leonard. Let me
Oh,
pose a question to you. Leonard Williams is an All-Pro player this year. A much maligned trade that we picked him up from the Jets last year for a third and the fifth. Was a number 6 overall pick in the draft. Didn't really play all that well with the Jets. So everybody was against the trade. What are we giving up these draft picks? All right. Again, he's playing All-Pro. His contract is up after this season. Okay. He is going to be worth minimum $15 million a year on at least a 5-year contract. The following season, Saquon Barkley is going to be up minimum 15 years. I think we can only afford one player. Who are you going to sign?
Defensive guy.
They're going to sign Williams.
And Leonard, you said,
Well, you know, I may surprise you and say I might not sign either of them because you know we might go to a different direction. Leonard Williams has shown it for 1 year, but
Yep.
I give all the credit to the coaches here, not the players. Williams been around a long time, you know, really 3-4 years, and I mean the coaching has really the technique. All of a sudden, it just unlocked these guys.
Yeah.
I give the coaches all the credit, really. Here.
Yeah. and you make a
I
good
think
point.
if we had the same coaching staff as last year, Leonard Williams would be oblivious to it all still. He'd be obscure. I mean, you know, as I said, they're excited. But I think they've taught him different. You know, Hernandez, who didn't miss a snap, number 1 round pick at
Yeah.
left guard. He gets hurt. He lost his job.
These other guys are
They
better.
rotate every night. He gets a few snaps in now.
Yeah.
The,
The coaching has been brilliant.
these guys, I think Judge is coach of the year, NFL, no doubt about it.
What about the Cleveland Browns guy's going to get ahead of Judge, I bet?
Well, wait till we beat Cleveland.
My vote is for Brian Flores with the Miami Dolphins.
What, you wouldn't go with the Cleveland Browns Stefanski? Is that his name?
No. Part of
doing
Flores
a pretty good
with
job,
me
I would say.
is from
9-3.
Yeah.
Well, they aren't done yet.
If the Giants make the playoffs and win a game, Joe Judge probably would gain a lot of support.
I think
You may recall, we only had 7 wins, I believe, in the regular season when we beat the unbeaten Patriots in the Super Bowl.
9 wins.
Yeah, we went 9-7 that year.
Oh, I didn't know there was a 7 in there.
Yeah, we could still go 9-7.
Yes, I've got issues here with watching the Giants all of a sudden, and it's costing me money. Dish is in a fight with Nexstar. Nexstar owns hundreds of local stations around the country, different affiliates, Fox, ABC, CBS, and Dish and Nexstar can't dance. They can't get together on a fee that's agreeable to both parties. So right now on Dish, I don't have Fox 44, and I don't have WVNY ABC.
Really?
So I had to go back and get YouTube TV and just to watch the Giants because they've got Fox. So, I mean, I'm double dipping here all of a sudden. I really got flummoxed, if you will, or I am flummoxed by what's happening. And who knows, could be weeks, could be months. But I won't keep YouTube TV any longer than I have to, but I'm going to get through the Giants season, obviously. But that's neither here nor there. Did you talk about the Expos and Tampa Bay and all that?
We did. Duke almost thinks it's a farce.
You think the Tampa Bay guys has some type of ulterior motive here?
Well, that one word, most important word in business, leverage. Nobody down in Tampa. I mean, Florida is not a baseball state. It's a spring training place to go for Northerners. Miami Marlins, second lowest attendance. Actually, the lowest, then the second lowest is Tampa. And Tampa's had a really nice franchise for the last 15 years.
Albeit a horrible, pathetic stadium.
Would think Montreal should get that team on a full-time basis. Keep in mind, Montreal is the largest city in North America without a baseball franchise. I guess Mexico City would be larger.
I was about to mention,
but you wouldn't put a team down in Mexico City.
City's about 20 times larger.
And as we mentioned earlier in the show, Len, you put the Expos in the East, American League East, guaranteed 27 sellouts between the Yanks, Red Sox, and the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The population of Montreal is mind-boggling. They got about 2 million on the island itself, and they got, I think, between 2 and 3 million in the outskirts. So you're talking 4 to 5 million people in Montreal. Yeah. But by the same token, it's a very cultural city. There's people from all over the world who live there. So I don't know what the baseball demographic is out of that close to 5 million people. That's the thing. But they certainly have numbers of people. There's no question about that.
Yeah. I just think a nice ballpark, from everything I read, and I don't have a good feel, but on the internet, people complain all the time about the location of Olympic Stadium, too far out of the way.
Well, it's not going to be there.
No. But if you remember, the carpetbagger that owned the
Laurie,
Jeffrey Loria, paid $1 million for not a down payment. What do you call it when you put money down where you may want to buy the property?
For an option.
An option, right. Paid $1 million option on property literally behind the Bell Center.
Right, that was the original plan.
Right. And I remember the press conference. They already had the name of the ballpark, Labatt Park, okay? And I still remember.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching it on CFCF News, the press conference, and I looked up in the skies and I said, thank you, Jesus, for having Jeffrey Loria on earth. I mean, it was just a beautiful, basic open air ballpark, and before you knew it, they were out of Montreal.
Yeah, I would like Parc Lebec better than Lebec
Yeah.
Park.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
Parc Lebec.
Yeah.
That you could put I like that. That's good.
I don't think you
but
could.
anyway,
Don't hold your breath, you guys.
I would plan on living long enough if they do it to see a game, but no guarantees. But I hope I do. If that does indeed go forward, it'd be nice to see a game in Montreal again.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and Duke brought up it'd be nice too to go up on the Montrealer if that ever came to
The
fruition.
Vermonter.
Well, I don't
Nay,
think
nay,
I'll live to
Montreal.
see that. I'm not. I don't know about that. They got that new road now, and within the next 3 years, they're supposed to be within 1.5 miles of the border. Unlike now, where they're probably about
10.
14 miles from
10,
the border
15.
with the new highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and when I see what's his name is getting a little grief, of course, he's eligible for it, but Tom Brady's company picked up around close to $1 million PPP loan during the April
Who's that?
COVID relief.
Tom
money
Brady,
that was given
TB12.
out.
Oh,
His company sells holistic and types of herbs and things that he uses in his own training. So, I guess it's all good belief.
Well, Len, a lot of companies
about it.
got the PPE loans. The Eagles, okay, arguably the number one rock band, probably aside from the Beatles, but they got a big PPE settlement.
The Eagles?
The Eagles, the group, yeah.
Speaking of the Beatles, John Lennon's
So did the
40th anniversary of his death
Los Angeles
yesterday.
Lakers, I believe, got almost, I don't know, they got a ton of money, but they gave it back when they learned that the funds had run out. The Lakers got a ton, but they did, to their credit, they did give it back, as they can afford to do, because they're one of the richest franchises in all of sport.
Yeah.
And what was it? There was one figure that was kind of mind-boggling. There was $523 billion total PPP loans, and the top 5% of companies received more than half of the money. Poor little guys who are trying to just keep it together. I guess they could apply. Some of them did, but they got the table scrapped.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, Leonard, that as a board member for the People's Trust, we did, God knows, we did well over 100, 150 of them. And a lot of them weren't for big companies. Now, I will tell you from what I've read, 98% of the car dealers in the United States got them.
All right, 98%.
98% of the car dealers got them, us included. And the what they're hoping to do is for the people that got them, that got less than, I don't know what the breakdown is, maybe 200,000-300,000. They don't even want to have them fill in the forms. They just want to give them the forgiveness. They're just saying.
Are they loans or are they grants?
Well, they were originally loans, but if you, basically how it worked is you got paid for 10 weeks of payroll. And then after you get to the end of the year, you submit your paperwork and those loans turn into grants. And you don't have to pay them back as long as you paid all that money out in payroll and in interest and whatever the requirements were. And so, but basically they don't want the money back.
Huh.
And they don't want the money back. And then worse than that is it was supposed to be tax-free, but they never finished the deal to make sure that it's not taxable income. And right now, Uncle Sam will tax you on it because the IRS is saying, hey, so there's a lot of that up in the air. You may not get to enjoy it as much as you think you do.
Well, hopefully the people who were on the receiving end were smart enough not to spend it all.
Well, I know we didn't. We hired our people back.
Right.
Luckily for us, we were only down for about a couple of weeks, and we were back.
No, but you know how it is. Some people, they get money and they spend it all right off.
Well, I think some people took the money and they blew it.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
And but it'll be interesting to see how it sugars out. And then, of course, they just got another gravy train that looks like they're going to, they got another $900 billion they're planning on giving away. So.
Well, I mean, the programs are starting to end here for unemployment and all that. I mean, without some additional aid, I mean, there's a lot of people that are really, really going to hurt like we haven't seen hurt in our lifetime.
Well, what they should do.
Evictions, foreclosures, people really, living paycheck to paycheck, which they say is as much as 2/3 of the country among the working class.
Well,
I don't know. Who am I to comment? I don't know if that's so.
Well, Leonard, I can tell you that I think it's way overblown. And we had people that wouldn't come back to work because they were getting more money on unemployment than they were working. Mm-hmm. And a lot of guys had that problem. And the one thing,
what the industry is, I'm sure, service and the restaurant business and the hospitality industry. I mean,
that's where the money should go. Not car dealers don't need the money. They've had a banner year. They shouldn't even.
It'll be interesting to watch, but and I think a lot of local governments are going to need some help if they're handing it out because taxes are really going to jump if they don't get some help because a lot of those cities, whether you think they were mismanaged or not, are pretty close to the edge as well.
Not to mention, I'm reading a lot of stories about transit, DC. I mean, these cities with their big subways and transit systems.
Yeah, probably nobody's riding them.
DC's talking about closing like 20 stations, laying off. I mean, there was a picture in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, big station at rush hour, one person in there.
I haven't even
in Boston, the transit systems are getting just killed.
Nobody wants to ride on a train.
Oh, I haven't even thought of that.
Hey, Leonard.
Yes.
I was going to tell you, I'm going to use the Nighthawk expression. I think the reason why Cleveland's doing so well is because somebody has been hurt. And there was there's an addition.
He's running his mouth. He was running his mouth lately. He's blaming Shermer and the Giants for his demise in New York, basically.
You know what, David, and I was going to bring that up, connect the dots. Once OBJ was injured, the team took off. And anybody that's played sports, you want a happy locker room, okay? A happy locker room will many a time transcend a good performance on the field. Getting OBJ out of there, and I can give you a Nighthawk guarantee. I'll look into that camera over there. OBJ will not be on the Browns next year, period.
But what a break for you guys to get rid of that.
We were so fortunate to get
I feel the same way with Kyrie and the Celtics, basically.
Yep. Yes. This guy is poison.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he's bad news. No question about that. One other thing, and I'll let you go. I watched a baseball movie last night. I'm sure you've all seen it. I haven't, and I have now, but 2012, Clint Eastwood, Can't Hit the Curb or something like that. You seen that?
Yep.
I don't think so.
That's a good movie. It's a
good movie.
Very entertaining, low budget. Didn't do, I read that it cost $60 million to make and only grossed $49 million at the box office.
Yeah.
But it was very, very entertaining, especially if you like baseball.
What was the movie?
Can't Handle the Curve.
I definitely didn't
Yeah,
see that.
anything with,
Amy Adams.
yeah, anything with Clint
And-
Eastwood in it.
Clint's right.
And Clint's son was in it. He's the GM that got fired near the end of the movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was his son.
I love
And
Clint.
they did a real good job. But I'll say we got Arizona. I guess we're -2.5 favorites. So that's a switch. And if we continue to play like we're playing, the old saying is, you can almost beat anybody.
Yeah.
And
Len, the Giants are actually getting 2.5.
oh, really? I
Yeah.
thought they were favored.
No,
Oh, really? I missed that then.
Now, are they playing in
they're
Arizona?
playing in Jersey.
Oh, in New
No.
Jersey.
Yeah.
But I would think that'd be a pick 'em. I think if they put Jones, if Jones is going to start, that line may change.
Isn't that the word that he is starting or not clear?
They haven't made it official.
They haven't said anything.
Didn't it sound like he would probably be starting?
I wouldn't start him unless they're totally sure he's not going to re-injure it.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
those hamstrings are so difficult.
Yeah.
And his is mild, and if you tweak it some more, he could be gone for the year. And they signed. I'm sure Hawk knows his name. I can't think of it. I read it. They signed this running gun quarterback to the taxi squad who can do anything. He can run back,
32-year-old
kickoff, punt.
Joe Webb.
Joe Webb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
he's a running gunner.
also put Alex Taney on the practice squad too.
Right. But you may see the guy they just signed, they may bring him up and use him in different capacity. Do a wildcat type of thing, just to give the offensive coordinator a little more leeway.
Right.
And
before you go, we've all been gooing over Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator of the G-Men, but Jason Garrett has done a fabulous job of the offense. Very creative play calling.
Because the early line was he and Jones weren't in sync, but I guess we're doing better.
I will say, I wouldn't have said that halfway through the season, but I think all of a sudden things are clicking. The players are executing, and I think he's been doing a great job of late.
Well,
I'm not sure I was on his bandwagon early.
Yeah. Well,
I think what happened was the Giants not having preseason, not having a new coach, new system, all these new coaches. I think it took a while for stuff to sink in.
Yeah.
And had the Giants had a regular preseason, I think they would have hit the ground running.
now keep in mind, we're 5-2 in the last 7 games. The 2 games we lost with a combined score of 3 points. I mean, this is a good 5-7 ball club.
They're
Yeah.
Oh, hey, God, could you imagine? They could be 9-7.
Oh, absolutely. Easily.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, Thomas, our number 1 pick there at left tackle, he graded out among rookie linemen in the NFL Sunday as the number 1 lineman.
Yeah.
He didn't allow even a pressure.
And that's exactly
So,
what you want to hear, is not to hear his name.
Rotating Pert here and there.
Yep.
I think it kind of lit a fire under some of these guys. It's not a bad idea to sit them down for maybe 10 snaps, let them back. They're fresh and they got a little more fire under their butt too,
Yeah.
no, this guy, this judge, I love him. I love him to death. And who died today, who was the really the godfather of turning the Giants around, was Perkins.
Oh, Ray Perkins. I didn't see that.
Ray
That's
Perkins,
right.
because he was the first coach to get in the playoffs in 18 years.
Yep.
Huh, really?
And he was the guy that hired Bill Parcells to be his defensive coordinator.
Oh.
And
Ray Perkins. Did you catch how old he was?
79.
79.
Really? Yeah. Well.
But that's where I'm worried. Leonard, this hat, I believe I got when we went to the Giants game in 1981. That's how old it is.
Yeah. Well, no. Time does fly when you're having fun, unfortunately. Hard to believe. That seems like just yesterday, the People's Express, the cab to the Meadowlands Hilton, brunch, and then on to the game, and a cab back to Newark to fly home. We'd be home at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and it was like $20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
People
38 for the
Express.
airfare and
Yeah, it was
probably
cheap.
15 for the buffet.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
geez.
right,
I remember those
$19 each way. And
Yeah,
I remember the
38.
buffet cost as much as the plane ticket.
And they had the snack packs for about $2, which weren't bad. I'd kill for those on a plane today.
Yeah.
You can't get anything on a plane
Oh,
right
geez.
now.
I used to do I did a couple of weekend trips to San Fran on People Express.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah. Thank you, Leonard.
Yeah. Okay, have a good night.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
See you, Len. Take care.
So, Duke, I want to ask Patriots. I mean, you asked me before the season how they would do. I would say they're an 8-8 team.
Good guess.
They look like an 8-8 team. Their quarterback situation is unusual and very perplexing. 2 weeks in a row, Cam Newton has thrown under 100 yards in the passing league. And their last week, they won 45-0.
They
Cam
could get in the
Newton
playoffs,
Newton
too.
threw for 69 yards.
Yeah. Fortunately for the Patriots, they're still 2 games behind.
They're not, I've told you, they're not going to make
They're-
it. I
they're
can't
not
believe
gonna
all the
make it.
playoff talk
So-
they get.
Oh, you don't know.
They
You
got
don't
2.
know.
Look, they got
end up
9.
10 and
Buffalo.
6.
Buffalo's one of the best teams in the NFL. They're way behind 2 teams in their division. How
Well,
do they make the playoffs?
wild card.
The Patriots are
Got it.
actually playing tomorrow night.
They are. LA
Isn't there
Rams.
an extra wild card this year?
There is.
So they got a chance.
Oh, they have a chance,
But
but
they're
I'm
2
telling you,
games
it's not
out
going
right
to
now.
happen.
They're playing the LA Rams in LA tomorrow night, and Patriots are getting 5.5 in that game. So at least we have hopefully an entertaining ball game.
But Cam Newton, how weird. If I told you the Patriots won the game 45-0, which they did, and told you Cam Newton threw for 69 yards, I mean, how bizarre is that?
Well,
For the record, my man Jarrett Stidham got in late and did throw a TD pass.
the Bill Belichick is the greatest football coach. He may be the greatest coach of any sport at any time, anywhere to ever blow into the whistle. Because this team here looked like they were going to be about 2-14, and look at what he's done with them.
No, it's a fine, like Hawk said, it's a 500 team. For the record, the Boston media folks who I put a pretty much stock in, who deal with this all the time, Belichick's getting very good words for his coaching, and as I've touched on before, is getting terrible marks for being GM.
Yeah.
Coach Belichick's doing great. GM Belichick, look at the team. This is he left the cupboard very bare.
Yeah.
No, I mean
Well,
quarterback
they
situation.
had a bunch of guys. They had a bunch of guys opt out for COVID too.
They did. Still, his drafting has been
No,
been
right.
terrible.
In some week, I'll have to bring the last
So just
like,
don't go overboard.
half dozen years. No, you're absolutely right.
Go crazy on Coach Belichick,
Well,
GM Belichick.
Greatest football coach and probably definitely top 3 of all-time great coaches if he's not number 1.
Hey,
Gee,
But as far as general
GM
manager,
has been very
he's,
poor.
He's a horrible drafter.
Very poor.
Well, he's not that bad. He's got 9 Super Bowl rings.
Right. I'm talking
The last
talking
5-6
lately,
years.
and I think Brady covered up for some of that.
Well,
stuff.
when you're drafting 30 all the time, it's not like he's
Yeah.
drafted number 1.
So
Still.
He's got
Still.
to take a chance when you're drafting 30. When you're drafting 30
Uh-huh.
every year, you think about it. These other teams, no team has been good year in, year out
Oh,
like
sure.
the Patriots. These other teams, you look at Kansas City, the only reason they got Mahomes, they were crappy. The Giants have been terrible. The Rams have been terrible. Even the Packers.
But look no further how quickly you can descend is Eagles from
yes.
3 years ago beat the Patriots, and now
Boy,
they're
since then.
They're a
Carson
mess.
Wentz, who's got I don't have it
That
down.
sounds like the big
Around
sports story of the
$150
day.
million
$128 million
Right.
contract
Kicks
kicking in next year.
kicks in next year. Now, I've only heard this rumor once. I think the Niners have tired of oft-injured Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, you
I
can be
think-
sure the Pats from you can be sure
I think
Belichick would be
him-
looking at him.
And McDaniels, they fit perfectly. I like to see Jimmy G go to the Patriots. I heard that the Niners might want to resurrect Wentz. Now, of course, they're going to have to get some financial relief from the
Of course, I'm
Eagles.
hearing Wentz and Belichick, and you're probably hearing a lot of Wentz stories out there.
Yeah. And
But
the
no,
other guy,
Belichick and Jimmy G would hardly
Right.
be surprising.
Wentz is interesting, and Sam Darnold will be interesting too, because with the winless Jets will be taking Trevor Lawrence, and he's going to start from game one.
If I were Trevor Lawrence, what I would do,
Hey, go back to Clemson.
I would tell the Jets, say, guys, if you draft me, I'm not signing. I don't care what you do. I'm not playing for you.
But again, there's no way how is he going to ever get a good team by being the top draft pick?
Well, he's just not. The Jets stink. And the Jets have been 52 years of futility.
Now, David,
they are terrible.
Jets who should have won. How did they
looking at
lose
the big
that
financial
last game?
picture, leaving the New York market, just say he did do that, and the Jets relented and say, all right, we won't take you.
Trade him to a team like the Bears, let's say, that have a good team that need a quarterback.
But say Justin Fields from Ohio State
is pretty good, yeah.
It's going to go second to the Jaguars. There's some good quarterbacks this year. Zach Wilson from BYU was slated to go 10th. Trey Lance out of North Dakota State is slated to go at 11th.
If the Jets could pick up a good quarterback and a couple more first-round picks, they would be better off to do that because that team needs everything.
Yeah.
But they aren't going to be any good. The only way, if I were Trevor Lawrence, the only way I would go to the Jets is if the Jets clean house.
Oh, they're going to. The rumor out there is Bill Cowher.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
But Dave, how is he? There's no way he's going to end up on a good.
He's got
team.
leverage. He's got leverage in that he can say, no, I'm not playing. John Elway did it. Eli Manning did it. And I bet you, if truth were known, some of these other guys have done it and they've said, look, I'm not going to play for your team. Don't draft me.
But if you're Trevor Lawrence and stuff,
he can still go back to Clemson.
Yeah, but maybe I'm the guy who can resurrect. I think that the Jets actually a couple of years ago didn't have a bad team.
Look at Sam Darnold was supposed to be. Sam Darnold was a number 2 or 3 pick.
Right. I'm just talking about the team. The team actually doesn't look that terrible. I think I think their record's a bit misleading.
Let me ask you this, David. Though, if you're Trevor Lawrence and say you're not getting traded, and you do tell the Jets, "I'm not coming," and
you go back to college,
but.
And risk an injury and risk $100 million.
Do you want to play for the Jets at number 1 or number 2, Jacksonville? I mean, Jacksonville is it's Siberia.
What's a better? Well, how do you think he's going to get a better deal?
Because if he is his agent, it's just like John Elway. John Elway was drafted by the Colts. He told them, "If you draft me, I'll go play baseball."
Trevor Lawrence doesn't have that option.
He's got the same option. He can say, look, I can go back to Clemson. The team he's playing for Clemson is a better team than the team he's going to. Clemson is a better team than the Jets. He's going to get
millions of dollars playing for Clemson, though. But again, what happened? He goes back to Clemson. What do you think is going to be different the next year?
Well,
he gets drafted by a horrible team again.
Right, but it ain't the Jets. The Jets are a cesspool. The Jets are awful. They've been through 47 managers, 57 coaches. They're terrible.
Well, if you're Trevor Lawrence, maybe what an opportunity to this moribund franchise and stuff. New York, say this guy has a little success. You know, we're talking New York. Who knows? That might be just a challenge he'd love.
In 3 years, he's all beat up like Sam Darnold, and he's used up and worthless again.
But the main thing is, why do you think he's going to get a better deal if he waits a year?
I think he's not going to wait a year. I think the Jets would say, look, there's not that much difference between him and the next best quarterback. And if we could pick up another first-round pick, then we're better off. I always thought
so he ends up with what? Jacksonville or something.
Well, no, but maybe somebody trades up. It's like I always thought the Giants made a bad deal giving up 2 first-round picks for Eli Manning and Phil Rivers. Rivers is statistically about the equal of Eli. And had the Giants had those other 2 first-round picks to go along with Phil Rivers, they may have had just as good a team. You know, when you're drafting guys that are in a top 5 or 10, you're getting really good guys. And I just think there are some teams out there, the Jets, the Lions, the Chargers, that you don't want to play for them, and Jacksonville. They're continually bad. They stink year in, year out. They're awful.
David, to your point,
Redskins too, maybe.
I think Lawrence will sign with the Jets because next year there's going to be another bad team. They may not go 0-16, but they could be 1-15, and you could have the same argument, but just a different team. But to your argument, say the Jets trade down because they need bodies. Say they trade down to Denver at this point as we talk. They're expecting to pick Zach Wilson, who's really good at BYU. So the Jets could get Zach Lawrence along with at least two future number ones.
Right.
And maybe a second.
I think the Jets should trade him no matter what they do.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, you pick a bad quarterback and it sets you back years. Jets with Sam Darnold and the kid
Seemingly
from Mitch
Eagles,
Trubisky with the Chicago Bears.
And the Eagles, Carson Wentz isn't looking
And that
so
was
great.
the same draft. They traded up to get Trubisky, and Patrick Mahomes was still there.
How do you not take Mahomes?
And again, I didn't know that much about Mahomes.
Me neither, but
and
man,
I tried to study up on that stuff. But when Kansas City drafted up, I said, "What are you doing?"
When did they pick him? What number was he?
9, 10, 11, somewhere
That
around there.
Mahomes.
great.
He is the best player in the NFL.
He's unreal. A couple of college football notes quickly. Top 4 teams: Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State. Of course, the big thing with Ohio State, the game against Michigan, not happening. Half of Michigan's team is down and out. Anyway, big thing for Ohio State was needed. Of course, the Big Ten had bagged the season and then went the other way. Of course, Ohio State needed to play supposedly 6 games to be eligible for postseason play. They're in. I guess today they brought that down to 5.
Yeah.
But kudos. This was the best game last weekend, probably. BYU, Coastal Carolina. Caught that. Guess that game came out of nowhere. They pulled that game together 56 hours before the game.
Really?
I'm not sure what the story was. And I happened to hear Stephen A. on ESPN this morning, and he had a great idea, which of course will go nowhere. But Ohio State, Michigan game's gone. Texas A&M, their game, I think Ole Miss, that game's gone. And Stephen A. saying, hey, and Texas A&M's number 5.
Yeah.
Hey, the perfect game. These two teams lost their games. Let's get Ohio State and Texas A&M together. I mean, great idea, I guess.
They could play in Texas because Texas is wide open.
And Stephen A. says that one game's on Fox, one's on whatever. CBS, have them show the game on both networks. Great idea, which obviously.
Oh, that'll never happen.
But the Coastal Carolina BYU in 56 hours, football is so regimented. It's unreal how they pulled that on.
Those Chanticleers or whatever they're called.
Chanticleers, great nickname.
They're like in a top 10.
Top 15 anyway. Yeah, they're a very good team.
Bob Burnell's daughter, Allie, went to Coastal Carolina.
In fact, my friend Brad Furlan's son, Casey, I think, went there for a year, I think. Conway, South Carolina, not far out of Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
So do quickly where I can get a jab on you.
Yeah.
The Blue Devils.
Boy, not a guy that beat.
Pounced last night.
Yeah, Coach K, I just saw on, actually, pardon the interruption, which I never watched, but they had his post-game comment saying, yeah, we're not a great team now. But Coach K also saying, boy, I'm just not sure college basketball's worth it and stuff. But Illinois, I didn't even watch the second half, and Michigan State had beaten them earlier. I have no handle on this team, but not a good team.
Well,
Illinois is a very good team.
UVM basketball starts
pushed off again
the
for
23rd,
something like that.
I think, and their hockey starts on the 26th.
Supposedly.
But supposedly, and that's the way I'm looking at it. It's a week by week thing.
Huck, one really wicked quick note.
Yep.
The 101.3 folks who are listening to Brady Farkas, which we talked about months ago.
Podcast.
Guess what? He's got more than that. Way more. Hank, he's landed on his feet. I happen to listen to WDEV once in a while.
Okay.
I've got an ad here, and I've heard him. The Brady Farkas Show, 5:30 to 7. Because I'm wondering vaguely, why don't the 101.3 guys, Rich, great guy, and Arnie, why don't they ever give us an update on Brady? Because he's kind of got a competing show. And I hear Brady before that. Something tells me he's probably got a full-time job there. But he's landed on his feet.
Okay.
He's very solid.
Yeah.
But on WDEV, the best local radio station in the state by far.
Where's that at?
No, Waterbury.
Waterbury?
Oh, yeah,
That's
the friendly
Ken
pioneer.
Squire's old
What's that?
Ken Squire used
Oh,
one of the
absolutely.
stations.
Hey, where do you
Absolutely.
listen to the Giants?
Great station.
Do they have the Giants games still?
Do they carry the Giants?
Yeah.
I mean, to be
I
honest,
think they
I'm not
used
sure.
to.
Wiry and Plattsburgh, I think, used to. I'm not
to.
sure they do anymore.
So, well,
Anyway.
fellas, that's it. We got through another week. Very little sports, but a lot of talk here. So that will conclude this edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. For our engineer, Ellen Richie Cunningham, for Super Dave and the Duke, I am the Nighthawk. Till next week, everyone. Ciao for now.
Bonsoir.
See ya.